This year's theme, Superfine, Tailoring Black Style, celebrates exceptional tailoring and the political and social activism within menswear. Although the Black Dandy has a long history that includes clothing of exceptional tailoring and extravagant accessories, as well as personal and political symbolism, let's ground ourselves in the glory of the present-day dandies. If you've admired Russell Westbrook and his tunnel fits and Billy Porter at award shows, you have appreciated a black dandy. Of course, dandies don't have to be black or male. Consider, for example, Travis Kelce and Janelle Monáe, both of whom startled the broader world with their fashion statements. To celebrate this new world of menswear and style, the 2025 Met Gala's theme is Superfine, Tailoring Black Style. Based on Monica Miller's 2009 book, Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism, Black people have always been creating the materials and clothes worn by others. Whether they worked in fields or as seamstresses in laundries or as dressers, Black people were hidden from the public joy of expensive clothing. In 1766 that he spent above 8 pounds of my money for a suit of superfine clothes to dance with at my freedom. And the styling of Black diasporic identity, the exhibit and wildly fashionable party, will feature celebrities honoring not just groundbreaking clothing. Until recently, the image of Beau Brummel typified the dandy. Women, of course, began to wear pants and dresses with much shorter hemlines, necklines, and sleeves. Their clothes allowed them to move freely and didn't harm their health by constricting their breathing. With its excessive use of fabric, the zoot suit was a visual representation of feeling big and powerful. Worn by Latin men, their effect was so influential that it threatened the white men of Southern California, leading to riots in June 1943. Marlene Dietrich was the ideal of this newly empowered woman, wearing trousers and tuxedos in many of her films and portraits. Today, we see that same imagery in the look of many more global celebrities, such as the K-pop fashion iconoclast G-Dragon. The first use of the word dandy to describe a man was in 1780, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, and yes, Yankee Doodle Dandy did describe a fashion aesthetic. Remember, he stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. N.B. The macaronis were fashionable men who wore bright colors and fanciful accessories, albeit not pasta. In fact, one of the most unexpected aspects of the new rise of the black dandy is the sweatshirt dandy. That is, a man who is still dressed up even in the least fancy clothes available. Their hats, typically fedoras, often matched their suspenders, which were more elegant and formal than belts. Although everyone who exits a limousine and walks into the museum through flashing lights and fashion fans will all be wearing haute couture, it is handmade clothes, such as Dolly Parton's coat of many colors made by her mother, that the exhibit esteems entirely personal, and an achievement of the skills behind the beauty of the fashion, but expert sewing and tailoring as well. A once enslaved man named Julius Soubise became part of London's upper classes and wore shoes with red heels and diamond buckles. Black men began to embrace a more dramatic, stylized appearance, no longer using clothes to appear safe to a white onlooker, and your sense of style, body, and statement to the world, an outfit that fits and outs your style, power, and politics. Larger natural hair, open shirts, and tighter pants, the dandy became more extravagant and sexual. From the tunnel fit to men in nail polish and makeup to a love of over-the-top jewelry, men who are most at home in their bodies seem to relish bringing attention not to their physical strength, but to their beauty as well as to the beauty of fashion. Men in long fur coats and large hats rejected the clothing they were supposed to wear to fit in as a way to make a statement about their power. Finally, many people believe the museum has caught up with the real world of men as fashion plates and black men as fashion leaders and creators. To prioritize the theme's importance, LeBron James is the honorary chair of the 2025 Gala, with Colman Domingo, Lewis Hamilton, A$AP Rocky, and Pharrell Williams as co-chairs. Of course, most enslaved people were provided with no more than muslin and cotton clothes. At the same time, though, they became skilled pattern makers, seamstresses and embroiderers, and while they couldn't wear the clothes they made, once freed, they could use those skills to create fine, highly styled outfits. The exhibit will feature 12 aspects of dandy style: ownership, presence, distinction, disguise, freedom, champion, respectability, juke, heritage, beauty, cool, and cosmopolitanism. No previous theme has so perfectly suited the atmosphere of sartorial splendor that is fashion, its most important night of the year. Dandies in their fashion choices break the rules of the past and present while showing the way to the future. Hamilton wore a wool coat with floral embroidery over a double-breasted suit and black boots. Think of Colman Domingo and Lewis Hamilton at the 2024 Met Gala. Domingo paired wide-legged pants with a cape and carried a bouquet of lily. According to Miller, these outfits signify many things, but the predominant message is, "You can't control me." Black men in bold, stylish clothes remind the world that, throughout history, the first dandies, while you may imagine that non-Scottish men wearing skirts to formal events is a purely 21st century phenomenon. In her book, Miller brings the reader back to late 17th century England. In fact, the title of the exhibition Superfine comes from the memoir of Olaudah Equiano, a black man who purchased his freedom and wrote a few years later, "A white man, Beau Brummel, in Regency, England, became the first official dandy, making fashion his life's work." Meanwhile, and for some years later, the wealthiest enslavers began to provide enslaved men who did household and livery work with formal, well-made suits. The early 20th century dandy. From the Reconstruction era through the 1940s, clothes became a political statement for people of color and women in the United States. G-Dragon, leader of K-pop juggernaut Big Bang, and a dandy-style icon, in a daisy necklace from his label Peace Mignon. During this time, men also used clothing to articulate their freedom. On the East Coast, the men of the Harlem Renaissance wore brightly colored wool and silk suits. The 1970s dandy. After the death of Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and others who wore formal clothing and short hair, Sly Stone before his 1974 Madison Square Garden concert and wedding. Today's dandies over the last few years, athletes, musicians, filmmakers, and others have displayed their confidence and rejection of gender norms by showing up in traditional women as clothing and beauty standards. The dandy's wardrobe does not have to be expensive, and despite the many black designers whose work will be worn on the gala's carpet, which isn't always red, is not always formal wear. Gucci Mane showcasing sweatsuit dandyism. The 2025 Met Gala. The dress code for this year's big event is not dress like a black dandy, but instead is tailored for you. The point is to know the joy of having clothing made specifically for you.